Obviously, one thing I've been curious about is, how strong are Leon's claws? How powerful are they? How much pressure is there? How strong is the snap actually? And I'm definitely curious about what kind of damage he could do to my hand or my finger if he chooses to clamp down on it. So I decided to do some experimenting, some tests. In the medical field, they use a dynamometer to test a person's grip strength. Obviously, it would be very hard for me to do that, since Leon is underwater and with the fact that he has claws, not 4 fingers and a thumb. So I had to get creative. I bought a digital force gauge and mounted it in a drill press. So this will let us simulate the force it takes Leon to crack open mussel and clamshells. We can get readings in newtons, the weight force standard in physics, in kilograms, or in pounds of force. Leon has been able to crack open mussel shells like this for a while now. He busts right into them easily. He's only been able to crack open clamshells since his 3rd molt though. His claws are pretty huge now and super strong. He manipulates the mussel shell to where he wants it to be in his crushing claw. And pop, he's in. He likes to take his time and clean everything he can eat out of the shell. While he's chowing down, let's test a mussel shell on our dynamometer and see what force is required to bust into it. Notice these shells are built dome-shaped, so that's where a lot of the strength comes from. Wow, okay. That's coming in at 178.1 newtons, or 18.5 kilograms, or 40.05 pounds of pressure. That's pretty impressive, and Leon cracks into these pretty effortlessly. I tested several of these and in different positions, and the results were all similar. Obviously, every shell is going to be different, and some are a little thicker than others. Let's try the clamshell now. These are really thick, and like I mentioned, Leon has only recently been able to crush them. I'm sure Leon has nerve endings in his claws just like we have nerve endings in our teeth, so that when he's breaking something, he doesn't actually apply so much pressure that he ends up breaking his claw before he breaks the shell or whatever he's trying to break. Doing this experiment reminded me of some of the things Leon has to deal with. These shells are oval and not easy to hold on to. He has to put them in position in his crushing claw and hold them there while he applies heavy force. One thing I consider is that Leon is only using the tools he was born with. We don't change a tire with our bare hands. We use tools we built specifically for the job. So it's interesting to watch him creatively manipulate and work with objects in his big bulky claws. So I wonder too if his intellect is actually being held back by his tools, his claws. I wonder what he could do if he had hands like us and access to a whole toolbox of tools. Leon definitely has great tools for cracking shells. Now I'm thinking about all the things we've borrowed from nature's designs for our own purposes. Shapes of birds and other wings, the honeycomb shape. Leon's on claws are a lot like a pair of pliers. What I noticed is he starts with it in the flat oval position. He squeezes it a few times and then checks it to see if he's in yet. Then watch what he does though. He flips the clam end to end, and rather than try to defeat the dome design, he tries to find the clamshell's weakest angle. This takes him a while, but he never seems to get frustrated with it. He actually seems to enjoy the whole process and the challenge. Watch this powerful squeeze right here. Pop! He's cracked it open, and he's in. So, how much pressure was that? I definitely want to know. Since Leon cracked the clamshell vertically, I'm going to do the same thing. That was a lot of pressure. Okay, that was 413.5 newtons, 42.15 kilograms, or 93 pounds of pressure. The mussel shell earlier was 178 newtons. That's a huge difference. I'm going to crackle a couple more and get an average, because obviously no two clam shells are going to be the same thickness. This one comes in at 421 newtons, 42.95 kilograms, or 94.75 pounds of pressure. And the third one, 305.6 newtons, 31.15 kilograms, or 68.75 pounds of pressure. So this shell was the weakest so far. And the last shell, 631.8 newtons, or 64.45 kilograms, or 142 pounds of pressure. Wow, that was definitely the thickest shell. So, an average is likely in the area of the first two shells, 400 newtons. That's seriously impressive. And no, I definitely don't want Leon clamping onto my finger or my hand. I try to be fair and give the little crabs the same treats I give Leon. The tiniest crab in Leon's aquarium loves clams too, but is cautious and smart. It would rather eat closer to its little cave entrance.
Anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
I like to take full advantage of beautiful days, and today is definitely one of those. The sign says road closed, but surely that doesn't mean it's closed though, does it? There's a waterfall way up here I first discovered when I was in my teens, and I love coming back to visit it. I can quickly see why this old road has been closed. Major storm damage. It's always been a little rough and sketchy. It runs about 28 miles across several mountaintops. When my kids were young, we took the minivan up here and just about beat the oil pan right off it. Fortunately, all the parts stayed in it. I really need to work on some sort of aquarium backpack so I can take Leon on these adventures with me. He would love the waterfall we're going to. Every time I come up here, I have to search for this waterfall. And I like that. It's somewhere on the left and well hidden. Okay, this looks like it. I'm about 5 miles up this ratty, amazing little road. It hasn't rained here in over a month, so the stream is way down right now. Here's the waterfall, a straight, beautiful, scary drop down. This is what the flow was like the last time I visited, about 5 years ago. Getting down to the bottom is kind of sketchy too, but well worth it. I won't say if I have or haven't, but you could easily take a nice shower in total privacy way out here. When I get to the very bottom, something catches my eye. Though it's pretty camouflaged, man-made shapes are really easy to spot in all the freeform lines and curves in nature. It's an old military ammo box. Uh-oh. You can see from the imprint in the ground here, this box has been sitting here for several years at least. The lid is rusted shut, but there's definitely something inside. I did manage to pry it open, so let's see what's inside. A plastic bag and a rock. Ah, somebody's geocache. I'm not sure what that is yet.
Cool, Mardi Gras beads. And I didn't even have to flash anybody.
Of course, an old military box needs its own army man. Is that a Simpsons character? Some viewers have mentioned that TV show in a lobster episode. So, there's a strange Leon link to this old box. Ah, money. A weathered old nickel. And this thing. A carabiner. Wow. Now I really wish I had a Leon the Lobster coffee mug with me to add to this little treasure chest. I put everything back just like I found it. I wonder who the next person to find this will be, and how many months or years from now. I don't do any geocache hunting and don't have any coordinates for this location, but obviously there are several hints in this video, so it would be cool if some of you who are into geocaching were able to find this box again someday. Maybe one of Leon's international friends vacationing. That would be interesting for sure. If you do happen to find this old box, definitely message me and let me know you found it.
If you enjoy vacationing, travel, hiking, exploring, going to hidden spots, abandonment, then check out my Facebook page, Explore Southeast. I post a lot of that stuff there.
Bobby the Karate Cat has been busy as usual. She's been on the set for her new movie, another Kitten Tarantino kung fu movie. Here's a sneak preview. Bunny and Sydney both went in for their spay and neuter. It didn't go well overall. Bunny immediately reverted to feral again when we tried to put him in a cat carrier, and then the vet also had a hard time handling him there. Unfortunately, Sydney's uterus ripped during surgery, so there was a fear of internal bleeding for a few days with her. They're both doing well now, and all vet visits should be done. Sydney's belly fur is growing back, and tonight she's hanging out with me, Abby, and Leon. They have as much fun playing with aquarium rocks on the floor as any cat toy. Okay, wine corks too. Rescuing kittens from the woods isn't all flowers and rainbows. This is amazingly gross. But rather than freak out, I think it through, do some research. It's a roundworm, common in kittens and wild animals, so a quick trip to the local feed and farm store will fix this problem right up. A dewormer, 2 doses, 10 days apart. Gross problem solved. They were given a dewormer at the vet when they were first trapped, but sometimes it takes a few doses. They're all 3 growing fast. Bunny now weighs 8.9 pounds, Sydney now weighs 7.2 pounds, and Jet now weighs 7.2 pounds, but he's missing a leg. He weighed 1.5 pounds when I trapped him. So far, the kittens have kind of gotten a free pass in the house with the other cats. No initiation, no hierarchy issues, no hazing. Cats have a sneaky way of digging in and making themselves at home, making themselves welcome at your home. I used to jokingly post on social media, here's a picture of me and my cat, and I don't even have a cat. Now we have like 14 or something. They are all unique and amazing. The kittens and all the other rescue cats now have their own Instagram page. It's Kitties of Leon. They post and maintain it themselves. Follow them there if you want to see more of what they're all up to. The kitten's mother still comes by the Woods house often, and she looks healthy and is doing well. There have been a few comments since taking in these Woods kittens. That Jet should be euthanized. That feral cats should be euthanized rather than TNR'd. That Jet was destined to die by nature's way. And I'm a bleeding heart for trying to save him. What is it that makes us human, though? Or should I say, what is it that makes us stand out as a higher intelligence? I personally think empathy is a big part of higher intelligence, and part of what makes us human. We've been gifted with some sort of higher intelligence, and with that intelligence, we as a species have defeated many diseases and situations, and have abilities to extend our own lifespans because of our intelligence. Why would we not extend that to our pets and other animals when it's reasonable and when we can? Jet isn't missing his leg is missing him. I always welcome your thoughts on this. In the 125-gallon aquarium, pretty much anything and everything was organic and was not able to move or defend itself has now been eaten. All of the pieces of root, soft coral, and seaweed. I woke up to find another hermit crab molt. Always freaky to see, but both hermit crabs are in their shells and moving, so it was a molt. I don't like having decaying debris in an aquarium, so I take the old shell out. Abby needs to inspect it before I take it outside. When I put the large whelk shell in the 125-gallon aquarium, one of the hermit crabs looked it over and decided it was a nicer place, so moved in. So I decided to do another short experiment. I put several PVC pieces in the tank to see if either of the hermit crabs would move into them. They inspected them, but neither were interested in them as a home. This whelk shell is so big that the hermit crab can barely move around in it, so I definitely need to get some more shell options. A few shells a little smaller. The anemones are thriving and doing well. And the movement below is this amazing tiny new crab that's appeared from the beach rubble. It's swinging its little badminton rackets back and forth, catching brine shrimp and plankton. This is likely a porcelain crab. If you know differently, please let us know in the comments. If you're just joining this video series, most everything in this aquarium has emerged from old shells, roots, seaweed, and other debris that washed up on the beach and were destined to fry in the sun and die. You can see the backstory on this in one of Leon's earlier episodes. The anemone continue to reproduce and spread on the aquarium glass in areas the crabs can't reach them. And some do manage to settle on top of the coral towers for a while, until the crabs manage to find their way back up to the top and find them. And others are finding little places to set up shop. And even growing on the side of the white sea squirt, there may be some safety here. All the little crabs have left the sea squirts or tunicates alone. And the original anemones are still thriving well on the pipes I hung. This sea squirt is closed for business right now, so it must be content with the food it has for a while. The whole aquarium is just full of life. Betas are a fun and enjoyable fish. We have a few here at the house, and picked up this little girl recently. She'll love curiously starting and stopping her way through the anubias in here. This is interesting. I dropped this clam in for Leon. He fiddles with it some, tries to crack it, then he picks it up and carries it over to the trash. So I took the clam out, looked it over, and put it in the pressure tester to see if maybe it was too hard for him to crack. But actually it cracked easy. But there was absolutely nothing in the shell. It was empty. So apparently Leon knew this and tossed it in the trash. I'm always keeping dinner varied in the aquariums. Today it's salmon. One problem is, sometimes it's buoyant and floats away. Again, I'm not sure what to think of the Leon crab relationship these days. I'm still watching it closely. This tiny crab is pretty close. I'm trusting it knows what it's doing. I hope Leon isn't slyly giving them a false sense of security. Right now, he's just interested in another piece of salmon. I was asked recently to be on another podcast to talk about Leon, how his story all began, about YouTube and the entertainment industry, and about life in general. The podcast is appropriately called Idiots in Bars. Look it up here on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's good conversation about so many fun topics. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and share it with other friends you think might like meeting Leon and following his journey, and the other things that are happening around here. We'll see you soon.